And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Ion Games. Or Ion, a compound building game. This is from Genius Games. They're folks who make games about science. So they take real life, hard science, and also make fun games. And I've been very impressed with their games so far. Will this game continue to meet that streak of them making good games? This is a drafting style game. Let's take a look. So in this game, players are going to be trying to get the most points, and you're going to be doing that through a series of cards. There's some cards here to give some bonus points that you're going to put out in the middle of the game and for each round. So these are goal cards. And then there are these cards here, and these are going to be drafting cards. You're going to have, there's 94 card deck, and these drafting cards are going to show different elements. So this, for example, is fluoride, so it's going to show you that it's F with a negative charge, and that it's going to be worth 3 points. So at the beginning of each round, players are going to get a handful of 8 of these cards, and you are going to choose one of these cards to keep. Everyone will reveal them at the same time. Then you'll pass the remainder of the cards to the next person who will pick one. When you reveal your cards, you are going to put that card in front of you. So let's move these here. So let's say I put hydrogen, the first card just in front of me. Then later on, I might take fluoride. So now I have hydrogen fluoride. I'm going to put those together. Why am I doing that? Because I'm trying to get cards to score for me, and I'm only going to score if it's a neutral compound. So one positive and one negative makes a neutral compound. This is fine. It's going to be worth 6 points at the end of a round. There are noble gases which don't need to be put together. Just for each different one you get, you'll get 2 if you have 1, 5 if you have 2, 9 if you have 3. If you have something that's just, here I have a negative, that's not going to score me any points. So once you place them down on the table, they're stuck. So if, for example, I add fluoride to this hydroxide, now it's a double negative. I'm going to need 2 positives to fix it, or this one here, which is 2 positives. I can put this together, and now I have calcium fluoride hydroxide, and it's a neutral thing. So that's what you players are doing. Each round you're going to take these and you're going to score them. Players are going to start with a set of these 3 chips too, and you can play these whenever you want. You can play Select 2, which lets you keep 2 cards from your hand. And when you do that, you'll flip it over and it's worth a certain number of negative points at the end of the game. Or you can take one of those cards that was set in the center if you need it. So you can do that, flip that over. And then you have the RXN tile. And when you flip this, you can rearrange cards in the area in front of you if you need to. Each of these is worth a different number of negative points. At the beginning of the game, you're going to take all these tiles and shuffle them by sets. So the D set here is going to be different than the C set, for example. Here the RXAN is worth -4, while the set I have, it's worth -2. At the end of a round, if you happen to have the exact combos, here if you have all the noble gases, you'll get an extra 3 points. Here if I have this combination or this combination, I'll get 2 if I have one of them, and I'll get 5 bonus points if I have both of them. And there are many different bonus cards that are available that might show up. There's also several little mini expansions which you can throw in. We have these cards here, the polyatomic cards. These have different kind of groupings on them. If you score them, you can either take 3 points, or you can flip one of your tiles back to its name side so it doesn't lose you points at the end of the game. There's also these transition metal cards. When you take them, you can decide, do I want this to be a 2 positive or a 3 positive? A 3 positive is worth more points, but I'm going to have more negative cards to cancel it out. And so that gives you some options. And then there is a whole little radioactive one. When you take these cards, these are only going to basically score for you if you're the only person to play a radioactive card. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most radioactivity is going to score points. The most radioactive is going to get 13 points, and the second 9 points. Actually, it's based on the number of players of the game. And that's pretty much it. You're going to play for 3 rounds, and then whoever has the most points at the end of those rounds is the winner of the game. The cards themselves are good quality. They're easy to see. They're different colors, which will help you. And of course, they show some, they're going to help you as you learn to say these different things. Okay, so this is hydroxide. All right, there's oxygen and hydrogen with a negative thing. So there's that. The card, like I said, the card quality is also very good. The other components for the game, I do like for these bonus cards that they show you what the cards do. So, what is this? Well, that is soap, and there's paper, and this is some salt and fertilizer that these are used in. So that's kind of interesting and helpful. These tokens are probably my biggest problem with the game. I wish they were different colors, maybe. The fact that you have to take them at the beginning of the game, find the letters, put those together, turn them upside down in piles, sort them around, it just seems fiddly. I just don't know why they just didn't make them all like -3 points. It just seemed like an extra little bit of randomness that the game did not need. Other than that, though, everything fits very nicely in the box. Good components. Once again, Genius Games has done it. It is amazing to me to see the games that they take here, where they take this scientific building, putting the different elements together to build different compounds and things like that, to take that and then a drafting game, a game where you get a handful of cards, decide which one to keep. The game itself is fun. Now, there are many drafting games out there like Sushi Go and things where you get a bunch of cards and you say, which one of these do I want? I'll take this one and pass it around. You have 8 cards you start with each round. You're only going to be putting out 6 of those. When everyone's down to 2, they discard those. So you got to do some thinking. I mean, it's some pretty obvious stuff. Positive. I have a positive on the table. I should probably grab a negative. This one's worth a lot of points. I'll play this, but then I need to add the other things to it. Maybe I'm trying to get the specific ones that are out in the middle of the table to get the bonus points for it. And if I put this down, is there a negative card that's in the mix coming back to me? And it works well. It's easy to play. There's not a great depth of strategy here. I do recommend playing with all the little mini expansions. The radioactive one I could take or leave. It's fine. It adds some things, but it adds just a couple extra rules. The other ones are great, though. And other than the niggling problem I have with the tiles being different values, I do like that those tiles are there because sometimes you're like, yes, I need that thing for the middle of the table. Or yes, there's 2 cards in my hand I want to play right now. Yeah, I'm going to lose a few points for doing this, but I'm going to get a pile of points. There's no real good way to keep points scoring in the game. You're going to have to use a phone app or write them down on paper. I think the game might have done better to have some way that, some point chips in it. But the game itself is a nice, solid little just drafting game. And it once again falls into that hey, science is good, science is interesting, here's a fun game that's not going to say, oh, this, the game is educational but not fun. No, this is a good quality educational game. So once again, they do a great job at making a fun game. That's Ion, a compound building game. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.